Hello everyone, welcome back to Twin Photo TV. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to open up 3 starter decks of Marvel Overpower. It's a card game from 1995, I believe. So they're not going to be random, but I thought it would be fun to still open it on the channel. And I'm going to try and convince either my sister or my nephew to play this game with me, and we'll have it on the channel too. But before that, I thought I would show off something kind of cool. So this is the first non-Pokemon related video that I'm going to have on the channel. But while I was bringing my Funko Pops down, I found this cool playmat that I was wanting to use for the openings, so I thought I would show that off a little bit. So next time in my next Pokemon card opening, this is what I'm going to have displayed for everyone. I thought it was really cool. I bought this back in junior high, and I was sad because I misplaced it, and then I just found it, so I thought I would share that with you guys and let you see how cool this retro stuff is. But so I ordered this off of eBay, and I ordered it from Canada, and it's taken a little bit to get here. So as you can see, I haven't opened it yet, but I took out the postal information. But it's not really a candle warmer. So let's go ahead and open this sucker up. One eternity later. Oh my gosh. Oh, baby. So, there are 3 different decks here. And to my knowledge, I think all 3 of these decks are mostly going to be X-Men related. X-Men is still really popular, but like back in the 90s, like how people react to the Avengers movies now is how people were reacting to like the X-Men comics, X-Men animated series. And then we got the 2000 we got the X-Men movies. So X-Men, I think, has kind of it's still really popular, but I think the Avengers are now kind of more in the spotlight, especially when it comes to Marvel. So let's see. Let's do them in this order. We're gonna do Mutants Unite first. Then we're going to do Deadly Foes and Sworn to Protect. And so I never learned how to properly play this game when it was out. I did have some of the cards, but I think it is a game that I'm going to have to watch a few tutorials on how to play, because I didn't really get it as a teenager. Well, not a teenager, I was in I was probably in elementary when this card game came out. But, without me yapping so much, we'll start off with Mutants Unite. So we'll start with these. If I'm remembering right from the rules that I have seen, these are mission cards, and you don't really play with them. You more or less use them to kind of, like, they're like, it's not gambling, but you wager them pretty much. So let's go through these a little slower. These ones are based off of a thing in the X-Men comics. There was a storyline called Fatal Attractions. And here we have Professor X psychically beating Magneto. And you don't really see... So in junior high, I was super into comics. Like, I would go... Well, elementary and junior high, I was super into comics. I would go to the comic book store and I would buy lots of comics when I was in junior high and into high school too. So pretty much all of my school years. I still enjoy comics, but I prefer to get them like in the I guess they're like in the trade, which is basically the entire story is put into a book. So it's a little easier to follow the storylines that way, I think. We got Cable. Then we got Storm. Magneto. Wolverine. Oh, and I think there's... And Colossus. So those were the mission cards. So this is Bishop, and this is like the main character card. Like, so this is your team, one of your members of your team. And they had 3 stats, and eventually I think they got another stat. They had intelligence. But when we play, we're just, if we decide to play on the channel, it'll just be with the 3 stats. So we got some Bishop cards. And then we have Gambit. Then we got Rogue. And Storm. And so those are the 4 members of the team of this deck. And the rest are... These are kind of like what you use to fight, if I remember right. These are like the energy in Pokemon or the mana in Magic. They're kind of what fuels the characters, if I'm remembering right. But the artwork in these are super cool. And I want to say there was it's either in I don't even know if it's still around. There's a cereal that used to be called Kix. And I want to say they had a promotion where it would come with like 3 of these cards, and I remember getting Sauron in that, so it's kind of neat to see that card again, because I don't think I think I've lost all my old ones. I might have had this Cyclops too. It looks really familiar to me. And so does this Black Widow. And this Wolverine picture is the exact same as what's on the back of the cards. And I think this is a really cool the card back is a really cool picture. It's kind of neat to see Spider-Man and Wolverine facing off against each other. Oh, I guess that was the same card. And there's Archangel. Another Spider-Man. War Machine. And there's Loki, who's become very popular. He's going to have a show on Disney Plus pretty soon. I'm not even... Cyber. I do not even know if I know who this character is anymore. Super Skrull. And the Thing. So that was the Mutants Unite deck. Now let's open up the Deadly Foes. I think out of the 3, this is the only one that's not going to have any characters from... Well, it's gonna have characters on the team that aren't X-Men related. So, like, Sabretooth is on the cover, but I want to say that there's some Spider-Man villain in here, if I remember right. And it looks like this set is from, or the missions in this one are based off of the storyline Maximum Carnage. And Carnage is going to be getting, well, not his own movie, but he's going to be in the next Venom movie. Speaking of Venom. And this character is kind of interesting. It's the Demogoblin. And he came out of this storyline called Inferno in the 80s. And this was like a version like a demonic version of the Hobgoblin that separated from the Hobgoblin and kind of became his own character, if I remember right. But that was I read that one every now and then. But in the paperback, I don't think the Spider-Man stories were in it. It was mostly just X-Men. So I don't think I've read the story with where the Demogoblin kind of comes into being. And then we got the Doppelganger. And the funny thing is Deadpool is our starring, our first star of this deck. He's not, I wouldn't necessarily call him a villain, but during the 90s and 80s, I think they handled his character a little differently than how he is today. He wasn't as much funny as Deadpool is now, if I'm remembering right. It's only recently that, well, I wouldn't say recently, I would say within the 2000s. Like, I don't think Deadpool wasn't as big in the 90s, at least not from when I was talking to people about X-Men at that time. And here's Dr. Octopus. And there's the Hobgoblin. So this card game was actually designed by Fleer, who used to have the rights to make, like they made, I think Upper Deck now has the rights to do all of like the regular trading cards. So this game kind of came about as them wanting to get into the action, as there was Magic and there was a Star Wars card game that came out about the same time as this, and I think they kind of blew up, so I think this was their answer to it. And I think they supported this up till like, I want to say the 2000s. And then I think Upper Deck got the rights to make the cards. And there was we might do this one on the channel too. There's a game that I used to play called Verse System, and you could play with and you can with this too. They do make DC Overpower cards too, or they did. But there was a game called Verse System, and it was pretty big. Like, I'm kind of surprised it didn't last long, or didn't continue, because I think it lasted, I'd say probably 6 or 8 years, and it had both Marvel and DC characters, and it was really nice to be able to mix those worlds together, because I would say I'm predominantly more a Marvel fan than I am a DC fan, but I enjoyed it a lot, being able to have like Batman and the X-Men together. And it looks like all of the energy cards in this one are based off of the bad guys, which is pretty fitting. Or I guess anti-hero types. bad guys and anti-heroes, I would say, is probably more fitting. Now we're getting kind of into the same. A lot of these energies are the same, so I'll skip over the ones that I know we saw in the other one. That's a pretty... The art on these are really good. Like, I think a lot of them stand out even today. Like, especially this Venom card. I think that is so cool. Alright, so that's it for the Deadly Foes. Now we're opening up Sworn to Protect, which I think is all X-Men characters. Oh. And I guess these are just... The mission cards are the same, so we won't open those ones again. It looks like it's the same. We got Cyclops. And I think I might have had this card too. This art looks really familiar. And then we have Jean Grey. Jean Grey is actually my favorite X-Men and one of my favorite superheroes altogether. I thought, like, out of all the powers, that's the one I would want the telekinesis, and I like the Phoenix storyline a lot. I know a lot of people think she's way too OP when she's the Phoenix, but I enjoy the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga a lot. So I'm very happy to get this one added too. And then we got Jubilee. And then Professor X, and I think I may have had this one, because this looks really familiar. But I think, I want to say most of my collection comes from the cereal box promotion. So, and I don't even have, I don't think I even have those anywhere anymore. And all of these Professor X cards look very familiar. I think that was what I got in that cereal box. I don't quite understand what's... Oh, it's a booster. So I'm guessing she's wearing that booster and her lightnings are going to be super powerful. And this Professor X card is... I actually kind of really like it. Like, it's kind of minimalistic. But I think it's pretty cool. And I'll try to just show the energy cards that... hopefully that we haven't seen. I think we may have seen him. I don't know if we've seen this Storm. We might have seen that Storm. Oh, this Professor X is not pretty, but pretty unique. I don't think we've had that one yet. And I remember I think we have seen this Archangel, but I have to kind of show it off because so I had this one growing up too, and I just really like the artwork on it a lot. I think it's super cool. And then we got a Spider-Man. And I think we may have already gotten that. Alrighty, so that's all of the cards for these Marvel Overpower Card Game. So, but if you guys are interested in more kind of retro card games, maybe retro is not the right word, but I was thinking of, like, for being called Twin Frodo, which has to do with Lord of the Rings, I haven't really talked about anything Lord of the Rings. But there's a couple of card games that they had too, and I might do some openings and gameplays of those too. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment down below. And there was a couple of Star Wars card games, and they really should have kept some of them going, because the Wizards of the Coast did one, and I remember playing that one a lot when I was in high school, and that one was pretty fun. And then there's one that's as old as this and Magic, and it was super popular at the time. I think it was at one point kind of like Magic the Gathering's main, like its main competition. But that's a super complicated game, so we may do that one if you're interested in that one. But if you would please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with anyone who you think would enjoy it. And this is kind of different for the channel, so I thought it would be something neat to kind of do, test out the waters a little bit. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.